All right, everybody, you're listening to the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest-running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world. Over 12 and a half years strong. We got a great show coming for you this week. As I mentioned on the Table Talk Show this past Monday, if you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing an avatar of me. And the reason why is I'm a complete dope. I am a complete dope because I fractured my nose this past weekend, and I have two black eyes, which make me look like I got into some sort of bar brawl, which certainly did not happen. It'd be a much cooler story if that were the case. Anyway, I'm Jeff Warren. We're my buddy Len Hunsicker, who's laughing, and he's got to look at this dumb avatar of me here on YouTube. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, it's definitely strange in a live video format to be doing this.
It is. I feel like we're back on Skype. Remember when we used to do Skype years ago when it was just each other's avatars, or actually it was just our first initial and last name initial.
Basically.
You know, we were just talking to each other. But yeah, this stinks. It stinks to have this avatar up because people don't need to see me like this with two shiners.
I mean, you're hideous generally.
Yes.
So this is even worse.
Oh, what an idiot I am, folks. I just walking up to my car in a parking deck, and I trip on the freaking stairs. Like I told you before we hit the record button, thank God I did not knock my teeth out on the stairs, on the concrete stairs. Thank goodness for that. But fractured my nose, and I've got two black eyes. I look like a raccoon. That's basically what's going on here.
Your face looks like it went to a Halloween costume party dressed as the Eagles offense.
There you go. Oh, my God, that's perfect. What a great way to start the show there. Philly sports, baby.
Yeah, catch the fever.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, my gosh. We do have a great show, everybody. If you recall last week, if you did listen to the show last week when Eric was on, Thanksgiving holiday there, and we talked about the top three things that we were most grateful for and thankful for in the world of Philly sports. And we're doing a 180 this week. To start us off this week, Len and I are going to get into the top three things that we are not thankful and grateful for in the world of Philly sports. And then after that, we're going to dive into some Sixers talk, specifically how this backcourt is looking and the future of this backcourt that's really been taking shape with Maxey, Edgecombe, and even Jared McCain. And from there, we've got a ton of Flyers talk. Len and I are going to dive into what the injury of Tyson Foerster really looks like from a more long-term perspective. A tough loss as this team is, a playoff bubble type of team. So we're going to get into that. Now, we're throwing down on the table, we got our good friend Kelly Hinkle from BroadStreetHockey.com. She's going to join us to analyze where the Flyers are at right now as we're entering December, and this team is pretty fun to watch. So that being said, Len, I don't know, do you want to get into our top three list, or should we banter more about how I look horrendous?
No, let's just get into the top three.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You've got to work. You've got to work, and you got to be up in a few hours.
Yes. Can't wait.
All right. Well, folks, Len and I are going to get into our top three things that we are not thankful for in the world of Philly sports. Buddy, I'm going to let you go first. What's your number three, or do you have any honorable mentions or anything like that? What start us off, buddy.
I mean, I'm going to stay away from the Phillies in this just because the off season is just starting. So who knows where it's going to go?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll do great things. Maybe they'll do horrible things, and we'll revisit it after all that. And I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm not thankful for, the Phillies off season.
Right.
So it's way too early. So as far as that goes, it's just not fair to do that right now. So yeah, I guess for right now, I mean, the number
three.
I guess for number three, yeah, because I feel much more strongly about the other two.
Okay.
Number three is just the Union not having a really good year and then immediately getting dumped in the playoffs, and just it feels like they're a consistently good organization, but consistently a bridesmaid. And that kind of is a thing where it's like, okay, there's the supporter shields trophies that they've won now having 2 of them are awesome. And, it's great to, fill your trophy case in any way, shape or form that you can. But at some point, when are we going to break through and when are we going to win an MLS Cup? And then also kind of going hand in hand with that, when are we going to have that guy?
Right.
that guy, because look at the MLS Cup final coming up. You've got Inter Miami versus Vancouver Whitecaps. On one side, you've got Lionel Messi, the most famous soccer player in the world for the past 10 plus years running. And on Vancouver, you've got Thomas Muller, who is a long time standout on the German national team. So where is that guy for the Union? I don't think they have that.
You're not thinking Ty Baribo. You're not thinking Baribo's
he's a good player. He's a nice player.
Yeah.
But is he at that level? Is he at that caliber? I don't know. Where's a guy? And I know, soccer's not like basketball where one guy can take over a game.
Right.
But, where is that guy that, you can always kind of hang your hat on? I don't get me wrong. And I don't mean to, besmirch Baribo. I like him, but I just don't.
Even Andre Blake there. Yeah, even Andre Blake had an incredible season for a goalie, incredible season. Not the last game of the season against NYCFC, but
but he only gave up 1 goal. I mean, that I don't put that on Blake at all or the defense. I mean, the 1 goal that NYCFC had was a really pretty display of passing that led to a nice ball to open it up for the goal. And that was it. So really the entire fault of that match to me lies with the Union's attack or lack thereof.
Yeah. I think your number 3 is interesting because right before I get to my number 3, I did have one honorable mention, and it's with the Philadelphia Union. And it goes back to what our good friend of the podcast from PhiladelphiaSoccerNow.com, Josh Schuster, and I were talking about last week on the show. Had him on for good 12 14-minute segment, Len, and I am not thankful for Ernst Tanner in the Union front office.
That's looking kind of bad, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. I am not thankful for him right now, given what this team did this season, the expectations after Jim Curtin was let go after last year. Nobody knew what the hell was going to happen with this team, and as a result, there were no high expectations at all. Did anybody think they were going to get to where they were in this, but like the semifinals? No, I don't think anybody thought that in the beginning of the year. Fast forward to Ernst Tanner, him and the MLS investigation into the allegations of racist, sexist, and homophobic behavior, according to The Guardian, Pablo Mar from The Guardian, what a freaking article he wrote about this situation. Like, I'm not thankful for that because what was an overall successful season, and even though like you're not thankful inevitably for how the season ended, Len, but for the overall Union season, for Ernst Tanner to kind of taint it like this, I'm not thankful for that. That's an honorable mention for me.
Yeah, it definitely sucks.
Yeah, it absolutely does. So my number 3, believe it or not, goes with our beloved Philadelphia Eagles. Not the team, though. Not the team. I may get to the team, Len, in terms of what I'm not thankful for. But I am not thankful for those Eagles fans that went to Kevin Patullo's house, threw eggs at his house where he and his family live. First, we've got, for decades, snowballs at Santa being thrown. Now we're going to have eggs being thrown at coaches. I am not thankful for the coming narrative that is just right around the corner from a national perspective, thanks to these fucking jackasses. I don't care. It's going to be an explicit show now. Seriously, these fucking idiots and these pieces of garbage for doing that to Kevin Patullo's house where his family lives. Are you kidding me? I am not thankful for these jackass fans. You're laughing.
I mean, I was young once, and when I read when I first read about it, I was like, I remember being 12 years old too, because that's the age when you do something like that. I remember reading the article and going, who eggs somebody's house
I know.
in this day and age? Like,
Yes, yes.
are you 12? Because that's when I did that shit.
Right.
So it's just like, really?
These fucking idiots.
That's what we're doing? Okay.
Yep. So that's my number 3 right there. Are the jerk offs that threw the eggs at Kevin Patullo's house, and one, because they did what they did to Kevin Patullo's family. But first, we had snowballs being thrown at Santa for decades. Now it's going to be we have the batteries still, batteries being thrown at the vet. Now it's going to be eggs being thrown at coaches' houses. I hate these people.
Just,
I really do.
Snowballs, eggs, batteries. They just got good arms in this town.
Yep. All right, buddy. What's your number 2 here of things that you are not thankful for in the world of Philly sports?
Before I get to my number 2, I do in fact have 2 honorable mentions.
Ooh.
And I'm going to, and they're people. One is Kevin Patullo. Not very thankful for the job he's been doing, but I figure that's low hanging fruit and it's going to be said anyway. So I just make that an honorable mention. And also, I'm not very thankful, and I'm having this as honorable mention because it's not technically Philadelphia sports per se, but it does lie within our wheelhouse of rooting interest, and that is not really thankful for Patrick Kraft right now. The Penn State AD.
Yeah.
Boy, do they look like a third-rate program, don't they? It's hard to and I know people that still think that Penn State is in that tier of, we're Alabama and Ohio
They were
State
supposed to be this year.
and Oklahoma and Texas.
They were supposed to be.
And all these big name programs.
Yeah.
I got news for you. Penn State is not in that tier. They're probably not in the tier right below that. I would say they're in a third tier, even with all the 107,000 seat stadium and the big, alumni base and all that stuff. It's hard to take them seriously right now.
You're absolutely correct.
And I live in central Pennsylvania where they are the home team and everybody bleeds blue and white, but it's just like, guys, you got to wake up. They're not that. It's not 1986 anymore. The glory days are, the glory days at this point, if they were a person, could drink, could vote, got married, and had kids at this point. That's how old the glory days are for Penn State.
Yes.
So wake up. They're not that anymore. And this coaching search, to me, is just proven that.
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. Yeah, really quick, just so I can, before you get to your number 2, I absolutely agree with you with Penn State. I really do. I feel like the Penn State fan base anymore is like the Dallas Cowboy fan base, holding on to the glory days like you just mentioned, not realizing that, especially after this year, those glory days, they're not going to be coming back anytime soon. Nope. It's going to be a long time. I still going to enjoy going to games with my family. Absolutely.
Sure. It's something you do, but
I'm still going to enjoy it.
When they have to backdoor into saying, okay, Terry Smith, here's the job because nobody else wanted it.
Yep.
It's a horrendous look.
Absolutely.
And that's nothing, no offense to Terry Smith, but it's just a bad look.
Absolutely. All right. What's your number 2, man? Number
2 is with regard to the Flyers. And they're fun to watch. They are interesting. They did make some moves and improved a little bit, but I wish, and this isn't going to be a popular opinion at all because people are tired of the losing. They want to win. I get it. I understand it. So if you want to write in and say, Len, you're an idiot, I get it. I understand it. But I just, okay, Michkov is, good. Maybe Martone will be good. I just think you needed to rebuild for another year and just get a crack at one more like top prospect, because to me, when I look at the team, it's still Michkov, maybe Martone down the road, and a bunch of guys. And I just
even with Zegras.
Yeah, and I like Zegras, but where's the first line center on this team?
Right.
And where is the shutdown Norris Trophy contending defenseman on this team?
Yeah.
Where are they? Where are you going to get them? I mean, the cap's going to go up a little bit. They'll have more money, but guess what? So will everybody else. This isn't the 90s before the salary cap when Ed Snyder could just buy whoever he had his heart set on. Philadelphia is not warm. It's not a destination that players want to go to. It's not in a tax-friendly, area. There's none of those things that make you want to go to that place. And if they don't have, I don't know. Maybe they'll get somebody to sign there. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't kind of what I was talking about with the Union earlier. I feel like they still need to search for that guy, because I think you need a number of those. And I don't know, if Michkov and maybe Martone down the road are, if they're going to be enough. I think you just need more in that pipeline to convince me that down the road this team is going to be really good.
It's interesting that you mentioned this, because the Flyers, while they don't have like a ton of picks, there have been articles written, things that I've heard about, where it's like, will they actually take a leap at the trade deadline using some future picks to get that guy that you're talking about? And I think it's possible.
Yeah, it is possible. And when I talk about number one defenseman, okay, let's talk about somebody like Quinn Hughes from Vancouver, very familiar with Rick Tocchet.
Yep.
That'd be great and all if his two brothers weren't playing a couple miles up the road in New Jersey. I mean, if you trade for Quinn Hughes, that's great, but you better have a extension. You better lock him up as a condition of that trade, because
Right.
if you do a trade and he's able to walk in a year or two, guess what? I'd want to play with my brothers in New Jersey too. And you're going to make that trade for nothing. So that, to me, if you're going to trade for Quinn Hughes, awesome. But that is conditional upon him signing a long-term extension in Philadelphia.
All right. It's fair. It's fair. I
Yeah.
think that's a fair number two for sure, that you are not grateful or thankful for here in the world of Philly sports. My number two, Len, of something I'm not thankful for in the world of Philly sports, and this may seem obvious because it is a Sixers storyline that we talk about over and over and over, but we have to, because of where the team is at and where it could possibly go, as we are going to be talking about this backcourt and the promise that is there. But for me, what I'm not thankful for is Joel Embiid's and Paul George's contracts. I mean, for Embiid, the contract extension he signed in September 2025 begins in the 2026-2027 season, runs through 2029, just locking in that large salary for the coming years. And with Paul George, 4 years, that $211.5 million contract he signed in July of last year. And it included a player option for the final season, making the deal even riskier for the Sixers. So for me, the contracts just create this major uncertainty around the team's future, because of the high likelihood that neither player will be consistently available. And we continue to see that here in 2025, and potentially dooming seasons before they even begin down the road. Who knows what's going to happen with these contracts and what Daryl Morey may be able to do, if anything. But for me, I'm not thankful for Joel Embiid's and Paul George's contracts.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. And when we get to my number one, we're going to be on the same topic.
Let's do it. It's a great segue, I guess.
I mean, like you said, I mean, I have Spot Track up now, cap hit in 2026, 2027 for Embiid, $58,100,000. That's 35% of the cap. 2027, 2028, $62,748,000. And then 2028, 2029, $67,396,000 for a guy that, and listen, I'm sure that Joel Embiid wants to play. I mean, I hear him, say this all the time. I don't think it's a thing of oh, he's just loafing and he doesn't care. I don't think it's that. I don't think he genuinely wants to play, but to give that money to a guy that is big, so you have a big body frame, and then you've got one leg that was hurt for a while. Now the other one that's the foundation of carrying that frame on a guy that is now on the wrong side of 30, who has historically never been healthy. It is irresponsible, and irresponsible is being kind. Daryl Morey should, and I think I said it in a group chat a while. If I could catapult him into the sun, I would. I mean, this contract is a genuine albatross, and I haven't even gotten into Paul George yet. who also, but like think about your best case scenario for Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
50 game regular season, and then hoping for a healthy playoff run from him. That is, to me, the best case scenario for him going forward,
which has never happened.
Right. And now at age 31, do you think it's going to start happening now?
Right.
Or do you think it's more in the 20 to 30 games a year range every year going forward?
Yeah.
I know which one I'm betting on,
and
it's not the good option. So, I mean, and you have that going forward. You have, and I don't know if this is a Morey trade or if it was before Morey, but a team that just won the damn NBA championship in the Thunder, and they have our first round pick, unless it's like 1 through 4. It's just like we're about to talk about all these good guards that they have and how exciting it is and fun to watch them. And man, they just have no bigs to play off of there. I mean, Barlow and Watford have been interesting in spots, but those aren't NBA primetime bigs. Those aren't bigs that are a part of a contending, championship team. It's just not. So now we're wasting, the fruitful beginning part of these young guards' careers on albatrosses in the front court in Embiid and George, who just, I mean, and Paul George, 2026, 2027, 54 million and change, 2027, 2028, $56.5 million a year.
Oh.
So it just, all of that money. And Paul George is you're going to get maybe half a season out of him. He's 35 and he's going to be getting that money over the next couple of years. It is, I mean, there are drunken sailors at port that just got paid that spend money more conservatively than Daryl Morey.
Yes.
It is unbelievable how bad he's set this franchise back. It is borderline criminal.
It really is. Yeah.
Daryl Morey, I am not thankful for you.
All right. My number one, buddy, before we go to our first break here, it is the Philadelphia Eagles offense looking the way that it does. With basically,
what else could it be?
Yeah, exactly. With basically having the same group of guys that won the Super Bowl just a season ago. And I think for me, really, the run game and how Kevin Patullo has gone from a play design starting with the offensive line. What do we always say on this podcast? You are not going to have a productive offense if you don't have a solid offensive line in the run game or the passing game. The run game went from historically good to bad. I mean, look, in this offensive line, they still pass protect at a pretty high level. We are still seeing that, but the run blocking has just been straight up terrible. Bizarre assignments on run calls. They're asking interior offensive linemen to basically reach block across 2+ gaps against quick interior defensive linemen or 230-pound tight ends without like a mean bone in their body being asked to kick out and block edge rushers. There's no reason Grant Calcaterra should be doing that. And they swing between gap and zone without tying it all together. And Kevin Patullo has done quite a job, a baffling job, I should say, of putting this offense together with Nick Sirianni's blessing for 13 weeks of play. It's the one thing I am not thankful for. It's like the same guys on offense, except for Tyler Steen at this point. It's like the same guys.
And Lane Johnson's been out. I get it.
Yes.
But all the same skill players, most of the same offensive line. Look, I know Hurts has had his moments where he hasn't been great, and Barkley is, seemingly taken a huge step back. But what's new here, and what seems to be the problem and has been the problem all season long.
Yep.
And it's the offensive play calling. I don't know what this guy has to do to get fired. I really don't. I almost want to go to a press conference where Sirianni's taking questions and just say, let me know now if we're going to continue to do this. I'm going to run it back to 2023 when you guys shit the bed for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And I'll reopen my FanDuel account and I'll just start betting against you guys again.
Yeah.
If that's what we're going to do, let me know. And then I'll make some money off you.
Some money.
And we can go from there because that's what they're doing right now. It's disheartening to watch. I mean, you can't have watched either of the, I mean, hell, previous 2 games, but even a lot of the stuff before that, and thought to yourself, this team's ready for a big playoff run.
Right.
It's just not feasible. One thing I wanted to ask you, I'm just curious, and it's not a huge thing. I'm not saying, oh, bench Saquon, because it's ridiculous. But I just feel like when they give Tank Bigsby rushes,
Oh yeah,
he does a nice job.
he does. He's averaging like 8-9 yards a carry this year.
Should we maybe give him a couple
Yes.
more carries here?
You're absolutely right. Yes.
It seems to be working all right.
Yes.
And I'm not saying, okay, Tank Bigsby's the lead running back right now. We're benching Saquon. That's an absurd notion. But if that's an aspect of the offense that's actually working, hey, let's do more of that. I mean,
if you would give him 5 or 6 more running plays per game, I don't think there'd be anything wrong with that, Len.
no,
Not at all.
No, not at all. Yeah.
No, absolutely. He's getting large chunk plays. And yes, 8-9 yards a carry is not sustainable. And that number is going to come down if you give him 5 or 6 more carries. But at the end of the day, he's being productive.
Yeah.
He's being productive, and that's what you want
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So you're absolutely correct. We absolutely should be seeing more Tank Bigsby for sure. So that's the end of our list here, folks. We're going to take a break. And before we get to break really quick, make sure that if you're watching on YouTube, you like and subscribe to us, hit the bell to be notified when we post new videos. Again, like this video, we would greatly appreciate it. Helps get us in front of other YouTube watchers and followers out there. Also, we're on various social media sites as well. Just search out the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show. You're going to find us out there. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, got some quick Sixers talk, some quick Flyers talk. We'll be back in just a bit. All right, we're back, and we are now going to dive into some pretty quick talk with regard to the Philadelphia 76ers and the Flyers. That, believe it or not, our top 3 list took a little longer, Len. I thought it was going to take great discussion. But really, your discussion points on your top 3 list about the Sixers, about Embiid's contract, Paul George's contract, but what we're seeing from this Sixers backcourt now with Maxey, Edgecombe, and McCain, they are the future. That is taking shape. There are 2 dichotomies going on here. You have the future in front of us that we are loving to watch night after night. Tyrese Maxey, we're talking an NBA All-Star. Like we're talking like a top 6 player in the NBA. VJ Edgecombe, just so fun to watch as well. McCain's going to be getting back into the fold here, and it's being squandered because of Embiid and George. But I just want to focus on the positive here because I look at this backcourt, buddy, and it does give me that bit of hope and promise for the future when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers. Like, that's how I'm feeling right now. And maybe I'm just grasping onto this hope that they're going to be able to take things in such a new direction that the other 2 albatrosses won't necessarily matter, even though I know in the back of my mind they will. But I love what we're seeing from these guys, especially Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey. It's been really great to watch.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you got to just, and if you're going to stick through a season with the team, you have to find the things that are worth watching. And, maybe the Sixers won't necessarily be a good team, but with those guards that they have, they might be a fun team. And listen, if you're not going to be good, you might as well be fun, right? So, I mean, it's really great to watch Edgecombe blossom athletically and just, as he's, going to continue to learn in the league, just watch him grow as a player. I think McCain is going to be a really good bench guard if Morey doesn't trade him for, to try to get somebody else in here, which who knows. And then Maxey is, I mean, just the leaps that he's taken. I remember when he was drafted, I didn't really know a lot about him. I saw a little bit of him in Kentucky and thought like, okay, he's a guy, maybe he'll be good, especially kind of where they drafted him. I think he's like 21st or whatever. And he's just become so much more than I ever thought he would. And you just watch from year to year leaps in his game every single year. To the point now where it's just like, man, he really is one of the top 20 players in the NBA. It's crazy to see. And also how it's everybody knows it. Nobody fights it. This used to be Joel Embiid's team. This is Tyrese Maxey's team now. And everybody just accepts it and they're on board with it. And even in his demeanor, it seems like he just more confident, more self-assured. He he's a leader, and it's great to see.
Absolutely. And real quick, buddy, before we get to some Flyers talk and before I let you go here, I think Jared McCain, of course, he was down in the G League. He had a stint there, just kind of getting back into some form after his injury. The thing with McCain is, and I read this recently as well, I think it might have been Kyle Neubeck over at PHLY that wrote something along the lines of the fact that McCain is theoretically the trickiest fit on the roster because basically he's a guard that's really kind of too small to help Tyrese Maxey from a defensive standpoint, kind of complicates the rotations and the lineup combinations, but just he's so smart. The touch that he has, like he understands his game so much. It's kind of hard to shove him aside or even put him in a box at all. And I think because he has scored double digits in 4 of his last 5 games, and he's a playmaker as well, it's really tough to say that he can't necessarily be a key figure on this team moving forward.
Yeah, and maybe he is just a quintessential really good bench guard. Maybe he's defensively, he's not going to wow you, but maybe he is just your classic instant offense guard off of the bench, which anybody that's of a certain age in Detroit remembers Vinny Johnson, the microwave, and he was that guard right off the bench. It would just come in and hit some shots and just give you offense. And maybe in a perfect case scenario, that's what McCain could be for the Sixers. And he, the limited stint he had last season, he showed it. He showed he's capable of putting up the big numbers.
Yep.
And, he's missed a lot of time, with the injuries. So developmentally, it might be holding him back a little bit. I mean, I know that the shooting numbers aren't great so far this season, but as he gets reps and gets, more into the flow of things, I expect those numbers to tick up incrementally. And I think he'll eventually be perfectly fine. I have no concerns about the Sixers backcourt at all going forward. It's just a matter of, how do you make the front court better? But yeah, for right now, I mean, the backcourt's fun to watch. And it's fun to see just the kind of around the league, the recognition. Because I was watching a clip from a podcast, which is weird. JJ Redick has a podcast that he does with LeBron James. Like just the having a player and a coach do a podcast together is just strange to me. But they were talking about Tyrese Maxey and LeBron James at one point in the clip. And he sounds exasperated when he says it, but they're talking about Maxey, and he just goes, "That motherfucker just never gets tired."
Yeah,
and it's just fun to see, a top 5, top 3, whatever you want to consider him, all-time player like LeBron James say that about the young emerging guard on your team. It's cool to see.
It absolutely is. Let us know what you're thinking about this Sixers team. We would love to hear from you. Philadelphia Sports Table at gmail.com. Shoot us off an email. We'd love to read it here on the show. Or if you'd like, leave a comment. If you're watching on YouTube, what are you thinking about with this Philadelphia 76ers team? Let us know. Len, before I let you go, we want to dive into the Flyers losing Tyson Foerster now for months. What does this actually mean for the team? Had an upper body injury that was really kind of just bizarre, the way that it looked as it was happening. And I'm going to be talking to Kelly Hinkle from BroadStreetHockey.com about this as well. But I think for me, Foerster is already a really, really, really good hockey player. And I think it's tough. This is so tough for us to swallow because, we take one step forward with this team to only take 2 steps back. Yeah. It seems like that's happening all the time. He scored 10 goals in his first 21 games here this season. He was on a 39 goal pace over 82 games and a 37 goal pace, accounting for the 4 games that he missed in November with his injured foot. Only 12 NHL players scored more than 37 goals last season, to kind of put this pace into context. So this is a huge loss for the 76ers, for the Flyers. Huge loss. And we're going to get into, who's going to maybe replace him with Kelly and stuff too. But it really sucks, man, to lose him due to the season he was having. Again, this Flyers team just can't catch a break sometimes.
Yeah. And it sucks because earlier on I was talking about, okay, your foundational pieces in Michkov and potentially Martone once he, comes up from Michigan State. But I mean, man, Foerster is a guy that, has become more than I thought he was going to be. Sound defensive player, has been scoring at a great clip. I mean, you talk. I don't know if he's someone you would consider a foundational piece, but he's a hell of a complimentary player.
Yep.
I mean, he's a guy that you need guys like that on your team if you're going to contend. And it's a shame he's going to miss so much time, especially, he's still a young guy and he's still developing too.
Yeah.
So this is going to cut, as we said about McCain, into his development a little bit. So it's a bad break, literally, I guess. It sucks. I mean, because he's, one of those guys that when you tune into the Flyers, he's one of the guys that I think your eyes are drawn to.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. I know that was a shorter segment, but I know you got to get going, man. You got to get up for work in a few hours here. So you have any final thoughts? You got any final thoughts here before I let you go, man?
No, let's, I don't know. Maybe Penn State will be calling you or I about the head coaching position soon.
Yeah, I know. Honestly, there would be so many great coaches that just get in a microphone or sit on their couch that understand the game of football. Who knows? Maybe we can hold out hope. Maybe we can hold out hope that it happens. I know you've been looking for a new job, right?
Sure, I'll take that job. I won't even cost as much as most people.
No, you wouldn't. I mean, you don't even need millions, right? You'd like them, but you don't need it.
I would like them. Yeah,
yes.
Sure.
All right, buddy. I'll let you go. We're going to go to break, everybody. When we get back, we got Kelly Hinkle from BroadStreetHockey.com to talk more about this Flyers team. Stick around. We'll be right back. And joining us to dive into this Philadelphia Flyers team and what has been happening, my gosh, on the ice with so much of this talent. There's a lot of storylines to get into with regard to the Philadelphia Flyers. We have from BroadStreetHockey.com, and she's also over at PHLY talking some Flyers every now and again. We've got our good friend Kelly Hinkle. Kelly, thanks so much for joining us here.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. You know I love coming on here with you guys.
Great talking Flyers with you all the time. Look, like I said, there's so many storylines to dive into with regard to this team. And honestly, I've enjoyed watching this Flyers team so far this year. But the one puzzling aspect and individual on this team we got to get into right off the bat, and it's Matvei Michkov. And man, Monday night, we saw Rick Tocchet actually giving Michkov some more ice time and a power play shift right after the Tyson Foerster injury, which we're going to get to in a little bit. Len and I were actually just talking about that as well. But look, Kelly, I hope that we see Matvei Michkov more and more on the ice, as I've been really kind of getting tired of the whole narrative of, what's happening with Michkov and Tocchet, and why has his offensive creativity been stifled by Rick Tocchet, blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of getting tired of these narratives and those behind the scenes storylines that we've been hearing about. So what are your overall thoughts on Matvei Michkov's season thus far, and what we're seeing from him, and if you think Rick Tocchet is going to give him some more playing time in the future here?
So, I mean, as much as I want to blame Rick Tocchet for kind of the overall Matvei Michkov picture that we've seen so far this season, I mean, Michkov did not come into the season playing like we expected him to. He didn't look very good. He struggled a lot at the start, and it really took some time for him to get his legs under himself. And now, thankfully, it looks like he has, which is obviously great news for everybody. And it seems like as his play has gotten better, Tocchet has kind of started to increase his ice time. It seems like maybe it took Tocchet a little while to kind of fully trust that Michkov was back to what we expect him to be.
Right.
Because he started to turn things around, and the ice time really didn't increase as much as I think a lot of fans would have liked it to. But lately, like you said, he's been getting some power play time. Charlie O'Connor looks like is at practice this morning. He's on the top power play unit with Zegras and practice today. So it looks like that's going to be an ongoing thing, which I think is great. So yeah, it's kind of like I think it's less Tocchet, as much as, like, to be quite honest with you, I kind of want to blame it on Tocchet. Like I thought that, like, not to get off topic, but like I thought before the season started that like Rick Tocchet was going to kind of like make me look stupid for having the opinions about him that I had.
Right.
And like honestly, that I would have welcomed that because that would have been great news for the Flyers and for me personally as a fan. Um, but I don't know if he has all the way. I mean, like he's definitely not John Tortorella. But so far, I kind of haven't seen the sort of like forward thinking progressive coach that he kind of sounded like he was going to be when he was giving interviews before the season
Well, I think
started.
we were all propping him up. We were all propping him up that was going to happen because
well,
because we
that's
were
what we
craving
wanted.
it.
Right. That's what we
Yeah.
wanted to happen, right? We wanted
Yes.
this not to be an old hockey man choice. We wanted this not to be like this guy just got hired because he's friends with Keith Jones. Like we really wanted it to be
Yes.
the best possible version, which is like this whole thing that like Rick Tocchet is some kind of coaching paragon and we just don't understand and everyone thinks he's so great and we're going to see. So far, not really sure that I've seen that, but
well, we're going to get into it more. Yeah, we're going to get into him more. Teaser, everybody. That's what we're going to close the interview out with. we're going to talk more Rick Tocchet in the future here on this in this discussion here. But look, Kelly, let's move over to an injury that really is going to play a pretty big role, I think, in what happens with this Flyers team over the next few months here. I mentioned the Tyson Foerster injury, and it really was a very awkward looking upper body injury. Yeah. I mean, I just wonder what it's going to mean for this team here moving forward over these next few months. I swear to God, this freaking team, every time they take a step forward, it's 2 steps back with something else. Incredibly frustrating when these things happen and occur. So like, I'm wondering, are you like I've read some things that Charlie O'Connor, our friend, has written as well. Hearing other Flyers podcasts too, folks talking about this. Are you thinking that we might see Bunk or Grabenkin that replaces Foerster in the short term and the long term? Who do you think really needs to step up here?
So it looks like in the short term it's going to be Grabenkin.
Yeah.
He's the one that's kind of slotted in on that third line in practice today. So looking like short term is going to be Grabenkin that's getting an opportunity to step up and see what he can do on a line with Cates and Brink. Obviously, Nikita Grabenkin is not Tyson Foerster. Foerster's been one of the Flyers' best players this season.
Yeah.
So, of course, like you said, of course it's him that goes down with a freak injury.
Yep.
And he's going to be out for 2 to 3 months, which is just wild. Like it's pretty much, not till after the Olympic break, we probably won't see him, which is just like crazy. But it looks like it's going to be Grabenkin getting the opportunity. I know that Alex Bump, you mentioned, I think he was looking pretty good. Maddie Campbell over at Broad Street Hockey, she does a lot of Phantoms coverage for us. And she recently wrote something about this, that Bump kind of got a slow start and then was like really bringing it on and he was looking great. And it was like, oh man, when are they going to call this guy up? But at that time, there wasn't really a spot for him.
Right.
Now that there is a spot for him, he has kind of cooled off over the last couple of weeks. I don't think he's got any goals in like maybe the last 5 or 6 games. So he's definitely cooled off. So now it's kind of like, well, is he the guy that you want to bring up and kind of, do you want to throw him into the NHL when he's not playing as good as he was before in the AHL? I don't know. I think it'll be interesting with as long-term as this injury is. I think we're probably going to see a few different things. Like I said, Grabenkin looks like he's going to get the first shot at this. They called up Grundstrom from the Phantoms as well. So he'll probably get some games, see what he looks like. You got Anthony Richard with the Phantoms, who always looks good when he's up here. I mean, obviously he's not, a high-end talent, but whenever he's in the lineup, he does some stuff, which is great. Obviously Nick Delorier is going to factor. No, go ahead.
Yeah. I was going to say the one word that comes to mind as you're mentioning all these players is the word opportunity. There's going to be the opportunity for somebody to really take the reins here and show Rick Tocchet, show the organization what they have here. And that's what I'm actually going to be most excited about.
Yeah. And that is exciting. I mean, that is the positive thing that comes out of injuries like this, is that, you lose a good player, sure. But yeah, there are a lot of opportunities for guys to step up. I'm hoping Grabenkin does something with it. I mean, he's obviously, again, he's not a Tyson Foerster talent, but he's shown flashes that that he could be an effective and fun player in the NHL, and it's only been flashes. So it'll
Right.
be cool to see if he can maybe like on a line with guys like Cates and Brink, who are obviously playing very well. Maybe he can make something out of this. I don't know. And if he doesn't, I think we're going to see a lot of shuffling things around. I think Rick Tocchet's going to have to figure out what line combinations are going to work best, what players are going to fit in where. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun experience for all of us, I think, to kind of
Absolutely.
see how this shakes out. But yeah, you're right. Opportunity is the big story here, and so I hope someone takes the reins and kind of really runs with this.
And we're going to be able to see what type of coach Rick Tocchet is as well in terms of this challenging situation. We're certainly going to
It
talk
is
about,
challenging,
yeah, Rick Tocchet some more. But first, before doing that, a couple more storylines to get into. And before we go to a break, I also wanted to dive into, there was a really cool story over on broadstreethockey.com. Folks, head on over there. Great piece by your colleague, Thomas Williams, who we've had on the show as well.
He's great.
Yeah, just talking about 3 stats that are going to make or break this Flyer season. And reading over that article, I mean, I thought he really put the nail on the head. Like I or hit the nail on the head, I should say. And those 3, if folks, if you haven't read it yet, again, go on over to broadstreethockey.com, find that article, 3 stats that will make or break the Flyers season. Dan Vladar's high danger save percentage, Trevor Zegras' 5-on-5 on ice shooting percentage, and the Flyers 5-on-5 goals for percentage. So I'm wondering, of all 3 of these, Kelly, here, which of these 3 do you think is actually the most important from a stats perspective long-term for the Flyers this season, and why?
So the long-term addition to that question, I think, makes things interesting.
Okay.
Because if we were just talking like in a vacuum, maybe for this season, I'd probably say it's Vladar's play because he's been such a surprise. He's been so outstanding.
Yeah.
And he really has I think kept the Flyers in games that they had no business being in a way that we haven't seen from a goaltender in a while. So I do think that in the short term, the play of Dan Vladar, I think, is what's going to keep this team kind of in the playoff picture, especially because the offense has been kind of inconsistent.
Yeah.
But long term, I think that Zegras, I mean, you got to go with Zegras because he has the potential to be such a cornerstone of this rebuild.
Yeah, we're seeing it. Yeah.
Exactly. That if he can keep it up, and I think his shooting percentage right now is something ridiculous. Like I think it's like 13% or something. Like it's like some don't quote me.
Okay.
No one fact check that. But I do think it's like unsustainably high.
Yeah.
I should have looked before we started.
That's all right.
But I think it's probably a little bit unsustainably high right now. So I mean, you can never expect a player, I think, to consistently shoot 11, 12, 13%. Like that's just crazy.
Right.
But long term, we need him to be an elite level goal scorer in the NHL. Like we need him to be this guy. And so far, he's really been delivering on, I think, what was promised. It's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's been so rare for us as Flyers fans to get these kinds of wins where it's like, I feel like for like 2 or 3 years, Flyers fans have been like, we should get Trevor Zegras. Like, why don't they like Trevor Zegras? We should get Trevor Zegras. Like, why don't we get him? Like, we should totally get him. That would work. And then they got him. And they got him for practically nothing.
Right.
And then you're like, this is the kind of thing where it's like, oh God, remember when we got Ryan Ellis for nothing? How'd that turn out for us?
Right.
Not great. So it's like one of those things where you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop because that's what always happens to us. But so far, he's just like looked as Trevor Zegras is advertised. Like he just looks great.
Yes.
And that I think is something that the Flyers really need to be sustainable long term if this rebuild the way that they're doing it is going to work.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic take. And I would agree with you on that. Of all 3 of those stats that William wrote in his article, definitely that's at the top, Trevor Zegras. So really quick, folks, going to take a quick break. And when we get back, we're going to dive into some more Flyers talk. We'll be back in just a bit. All right, we are back with our good friend, Kelly Hinkle from BroadStreetHockey.com. I'm a subscriber. Head on over there. They have fantastic content. Now, as we're moving along here, Kelly, a 2-part question for you. The first is, I think we've seen some surprises so far this season, but I'm wondering which player on this Flyers team has really been the most surprising for you as we're starting December here? We're really starting to see some things come together for this team. Who's been the most surprising for you so far?
100% Dan Vladar. Like, I don't want to repeat myself, but he
But he
has
is.
been.
Absolutely.
Here's the thing, like, going into the season, the biggest question mark was goaltending. We had no idea what this was going to look like. Sam Ersson was not great last season.
Yeah.
Dan Vladar, was a backup pretty much in Calgary on a team that wasn't very good, and his numbers weren't, anything outstanding. This could have gone a million different ways.
Yeah,
This
right.
could have been just as bad as last season,
Yeah.
and I don't think anyone would have been surprised. But he has been legitimately really freaking good. Like, just making like lights out saves. Like I said before, keeping the Flyers in games that they have no business being in. Like, and I think it's pretty clear that the team, when he's in net, the team seems to play, I think, a little better in front of him because they trust that he's going to make the save when they need him to.
Yeah.
And it's not at all what I expected to see from like Dan Vladar. I think a lot of people, when the Flyers got him, were like, why would you, like, why is this the route that we're going to
I
try
know,
and
we
shore up the
talked about it.
goaltending? Yeah,
I
we
know,
did.
we
It was like,
talked about it. It's like,
what are
all
we
right.
doing with Dan
Yeah.
Vladar? Like, all
Yeah.
right, like, I guess. But he's been like, I think that like best case scenario in my mind heading into the season was like, all right, they'll be like league average. It'll be better than last season. It won't be a disaster. It'll be fine, whatever.
Yeah.
He's been legitimately good. Legitimately good.
Really good, actually,
And
when he
it's
needs to be. Yeah.
exactly. And it's been so fun to watch. And it really makes games more enjoyable because I think last season, every single time the puck went the other way, you're like, ooh, like what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I feel like every shot on goal last season had the potential of going in.
Yeah. Yep.
And this season it's like, no, like Vladar's got it. Like every start that he has, I'm expecting that the team's gonna win because he's been so good. And it's not at all what I expected. I would be surprised if anyone expected this from Dan Vladar, including Danny Briere. Like I really can't expect that they thought that he was going to be this good, but it's been a
Absolutely.
great surprise and it's been a lot of fun to watch.
Absolutely. Well, on the flip side of that, we've also been frustrated with certain players on this team, week by week, and some players maybe more frustrated with them longer term. So I'm wondering which player, in your opinion, desperately needs to start stepping up since they've been a disappointment thus far. Who's that player for you?
So this is kind of interesting because like at different points during this season, I would have had really easy answers for this question. Like at one point, the easy answer would have been Owen Tippett. At one point, the
Yeah.
easy answer would have been Matvei Michkov.
Yeah.
Travis Konechny, I think, could have fit in there at some points during the season. And honestly, like the Konechny thing is weird because even though his numbers aren't bad, and they've been better lately than they had been over the course of the early part of the season, like his point total is like not bad when you look at the box stats.
Right.
It doesn't look like he's having a bad season. But for whatever reason, when I watch Travis Konechny this season, I'm like,
The feels,
what's going on with
the
him? Like,
vibes.
yeah,
Yeah.
the vibe is not
Yeah.
what it. I don't know if it's like the swagger that we're used to seeing from him. Like the confidence doesn't seem to be the same. Like it's just like watching him feels different.
Yeah.
And for some reason, despite the fact that the numbers aren't terrible, I watched Travis Konechny and I'm like, dude, I want more from you. Like, you're supposed to be one of this team's best players. I need you to look like one of the team's best players. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need you to just have good box stats because you're getting assists,
Right.
which obviously is important. Like, obviously, making plays to get to goals is important, obviously. But like, I want to watch Travis Konechny like I did last season and think, like, this guy's really, really good. He's one
Right.
of the best players on the team. This contract is great. We're going to be able to depend on him forever. And for some reason this season, I don't feel that way. And I don't think it's just me.
It's not, because the
So
vibes are important. When we
yeah,
watch sports, I mean, it doesn't even matter if it's hockey, any sport, a guy can put up the stats, the box score can look great, but if you're not getting the vibes from him, then
yeah,
there's something there. I mean, just case in point, a lot of us watching the Philadelphia Eagles right now, Jalen Hurts is putting up some really good numbers in a lot of different ways, but you know what? We're not feeling it. We don't have the vibes.
yeah,
We don't have those great
right,
vibes right now, even though
right.
he's putting on a damn good clinic as a quarterback in the NFL this season. It's not the best vibe situation.
Yeah, so I would say right now there's no one that I'm looking at and like, buddy, you got to do better. I mean, like
Yeah.
Sam Emerson could be better, but like to be quite honest with you, I don't expect Sam Emerson to be better at this
Right.
point.
Yeah.
I think he is what he is. Um, Michkov is looking great now, so I have no quarrels with him at the moment. Although he could probably stop taking so many stupid penalties.
Yes.
That's probably something he could work on. Um, but yeah, I want to see Travis Konechny look like the Travis Konechny that we saw last season when he was on pace to be like 100-point player, and kind of just like find that confidence and that swagger and that kind of leadership vibe that we were getting from him. I want to see that
Yeah.
because we're stuck, for better or for worse. We're probably stuck with Travis Konechny,
Yeah.
for the probably the length of this contract.
Really
So
quick,
I need him to be one of the best
Yeah.
guys. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I was going to say, what's interesting about this topic when I put this on the agenda for us, my thoughts were I would have expected, say, 3-4 months ago, that
Mhm.
with this particular topic, we would have said a defensive player, or we would have said something with
Right.
regard to the defense. And guess what?
Yes.
Nope, not at all. And again, that may go to like what is some of the most surprising this season. Back to our prior topic, is the
Yeah.
fact that the defense has stepped up in so many ways this year. The fact that we didn't mention a defensive player at all
Mhm.
during this disappointing segment here really says a lot about where this team is at defensively.
Yeah, and I'm sure that this is something that we talked about before the season, but like looking at this roster on paper heading into the season,
Yeah.
it was like, all right, offense looks pretty good.
Right,
Nothing to
right.
worry about there. Defense, ooh, that's going to be a disaster. Goaltending, oh God, I don't know what that's going to be. And the defense and the goaltending have been two of the most, like, they've been the most reliable parts of this team. It's
Yes.
been the offense that's been kind of like wishy-washy, and the guys that you want a little bit more from. So yeah, you're right. Like, I would have expected to be like, you know, I need more from Nick Sealer or whatever. But like
Right.
the defense has looked way better than I
Yes.
would have expected at the start of the season.
Yes. I'll tell you right now, good vibes in this interview and discussion right now. We really do. But that may change in just a second, folks, because before we let Kelly go, we got to talk about Rick Tocchet, his coaching, his early coaching tenure here as the Philadelphia Flyers head coach. I mean, I think we are all very glad that John Tortorella isn't coaching this team anymore. I think we can
Yeah.
all say that with some certainty. But we have been seeing the ups and downs with Rick Tocchet here. And I guess piggybacking off what you were saying at the top of our discussion, Kelly, there are some interesting decisions at times that he makes. Some that I know a lot of us in Flyers Nation are like, what the hell's going on? What are you doing? Wondering how the relationship is going with certain players. So I'm wondering, what grade would you give Rick Tocchet thus far during his short tenure as a Flyers head coach, and why?
I'm going to be generous, and I'm going to ignore my instincts here. I'm going to say C plus.
Okay. All right.
I think the team is on the whole, the team is performing well. They're, not in a playoff spot, but they're not at the bottom of the league. Like, they're
Right.
not, bottom dwellers. There is, a chance that they could be fighting for a wild card spot, maybe. So, like, the results have improved. It would seem that, as you said, the vibes seem to be better. I'm sure that the players liked
Yes.
playing for Rick Tocchet more than they liked playing for John Tortorella. It's very clear that at the end of last season, whatever was going on there had turned into a disaster, and it was completely untenable. So that part's good. Like I said at the start, there were some interviews that Tocchet gave before the season started that made it seem like he is like that progressive, new school hockey coach that, you know, takes a guy like Quinn Hughes and lets him, do whatever he's going to do because he's that guy, and,
Right.
and
Right.
you're going to let him maximize his talents. Um, so far, I think Rick Tocchet has coached this team kind of like John Tortorella minus the mean part. You know what I mean? Like, the
Okay.
the
hmm
player usage hasn't been that different. When Michkov was struggling, Tocchet was in front of microphone saying like, yeah, a guy like that's got to play through it. Like, he's got to play himself out of this. But then he's getting 10, 11 minutes a night.
Yeah.
He's getting very little power play time. Like, you're not putting him with Zegras. Like, there was just a lot of choices where it's like, yeah, Michkov doesn't look great, but also he's the most important player on this team.
Yes.
He's 100% got to turn into the best version of Matvei Michkov if this is going to work at all. If he doesn't, if he just turns out to be like a middling guy, that's it. Like, rebuild didn't work. It's done. We didn't do it.
Right.
He's got to be great. And I do feel like sometimes you do have to give those guys treatment that you wouldn't give other players. Like, okay, yeah, if Noah Cates starts struggling, you're probably going to cut his ice time down a little bit. You're not going to give him the kind of matchups that you're giving him now. You're not going to give him the opportunities that you're giving him now when he's playing really well. Totally fine. Get that.
Yep.
A guy like Michkov, like, while you don't want him out on the ice hurting the team actively, I think that the calculus has to be guys like Michkov, Zegras, Foerster before he got hurt. Like, these guys need to be cornerstones of this team. They have to be the best versions of themselves. And I think that my biggest issue with Rick Tocchet is that he has decided that the overall goal with this team is winning hockey games.
Yep.
Obviously, that's important. We're not
Yep.
going to pretend that it's not important.
Right.
Obviously, winning hockey games means that mostly your guys are playing well. That's probably good. However, I think that that should be like the 1B goal, and the 1A goal needs to be making these players that are the most important part of Danny Briere's rebuild. We have to make them into the best versions of themselves. And I worry that with Rick Tocchet, that's going to be secondary or even like third on the list of most important things. He wants he wants to win hockey games. He wants players to play the right way. And I just worry that, like, I don't think he's going let me be clear. I don't think he's going to like ruin Matvei Michkov. I don't
Right,
think that
right.
he's going to somehow turn him into a crappy hockey player. But I do think that if the focus is on winning games, and you have decided that since you won 6 games with Nick Deslauriers in the lineup, that means you got to have Nick Deslauriers. And obviously, we win games when he's playing, so we got to play a guy like
That stuff. Yeah.
those kinds
Yeah.
of choices. It's just
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Or like, we were winning games when Michkov was getting 12 minutes, and so maybe we cut him down a little bit because things were going better before. Like, those kinds of choices, I just think aren't best long term for this team.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that worries me. Is that I worry that, like, not that he's going to ruin guys, but that we're not going to get the absolute best version of them that we might be able to if the focus was on development and not on winning. And so
Don't you think? Do you
that's
think Danny Briere though has that in mind also? I don't know why. I
I
think
don't
that
know.
I don't know. I mean, we're not there. We're not in the room.
Yeah.
We're not in
Right.
those discussions at all. But part of me has this trust level already for Danny Briere based on various
Yeah.
decisions, right?
I
Where
do. Yeah, for sure.
where I don't think Danny Briere is going to let that happen. I think what you're saying is absolutely fair. I absolutely
Yeah.
do, because it's what we're seeing. It
Yeah.
is what we are seeing. But I wonder if it gets to a point, we don't have a crystal ball, where Danny Briere says, no, the development of these guys, these particular guys, this guy,
Mhm.
is more important than the ice time, is more important than any type of metric or stat that we can produce that says
Yeah.
we're going to win games. So that's just my thought. I don't know what you think about that.
So, like, that's something that in the back of my mind, I think too, like, like, Briere's never going to let this happen. But like, this is something I've talked about with Charlie um, on the PHLY pod from time to time, is like,
Yeah.
so, and it's specifically with regard to Zegras playing center or not playing center, really.
Right.
Because I do think that when Danny Briere targeted Trevor Zegras and took the chance on bringing him over from Anaheim, I think it's pretty obvious that, like, the calculation was, okay, maybe we can steal ourselves a 1C. Like, maybe we can get super lucky here and find a guy that has kind of lost the trust of the idiot coach in California.
Right.
For some reason, they don't like him. They're not playing him in center. but like we've seen what he can do at center, and it's pretty remarkable. Maybe we can get him back there. I thought to myself going into the season, like we're going to see Trevor Zegras get every opportunity to make it as a center because that's really important. Like they got him because they need a top end center and
Right.
they don't have one. They need him to be that guy. But so far this season, it seems like Danny Briere is perfectly fine with Rick Tocchet deciding,
That's a good point.
nah,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
a winger.
Yeah.
And like, if we've decided, like, and it seemed like that was a decision that Tocchet made like 3 games into the season. It was like, no, we're not doing Trevor Zegras at center anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, but how are we ever going to know if he can be a center if we're not playing him at center? How are we ever going to know if he can grow into being a top end center again, if he can bring back what we saw from him in his first couple of seasons in the league, if we're not doing it? And it's like, that is the part that worries me, where it's like, have Jones and Briere decided that, like, yeah, you know what? Winning games is important. It's important for these kids to learn how to win. It's important for them to learn how to, you know, play the right way. It's important for them to be competing for playoff spots. And like, I agree that all those things are important, but I would have liked to see that be the goal next season.
Yeah.
And the season after.
Yeah.
This season, I still expected it to be, if we make the playoffs, that's cool. Like fun bonus, doesn't matter.
You want development. You just want that
developing
development.
these guys, and this, it's the Zegras at wing thing is the one that really gets me, where it's like, okay, we're nearly a third of the way into the season, and Danny Briere very clearly hasn't sat Rick Tocchet down and been like, hey bud, we need you to play this guy at center because we have to know if he can do it or not.
Right.
They seem to be fine letting him play wing to friggin' Dvorak, who no, it felt like he's a fine player.
Right.
He's good at faceoffs. Like that's great and all, but like he's not a high end talent. Like let's not kid ourselves into thinking that
right.
Christian Dvorak is going to somehow turn Trevor Zegras into something. Like that's not going to happen. I don't know. I just worry that the focus on winning is going to stifle guys more than they would be stifled under different circumstances. And that's really what worries me.
All right, folks. C+ from Kelly Hinkle for Rick Tocchet. And it is a great way to end this discussion. My friend, it is always so great to talk to you. Really, I appreciate you so much for taking the time. Again, folks, she's Kelly Hinkle from BroadStreetHockey.com, at Hinks over on the Twitter/X. You're also at Hinks over on Blue Sky as well, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I am, yes.
All right. Give her a follow, a great follow. And again, BroadStreetHockey.com. She's over at PHLY every now and again with our good friends over there. Kelly, come back, join us down the road. I would love to have you back on the show, my friend.
Would love to. Would love to come back later in the season and see how many things I got wrong, because that's my favorite thing.
Oh, let's do it. I absolutely love. I love when we're all wrong and we can go back and say we were just a bunch of dopes, and then we can self-criticize, and then it's a lot of fun. So let's do that in the future. All right. Take care now, my friend.
Thank you.